set of cells that have been around for a very long time. They have been used by a large variety of scientists to advance their genetic research, and they originally belonged to Henrietta Lack, who had not given consent for scientists to use them or propagate them to other scientists. So absolutely, it was an ethical breach for them to have been used without her consent. However, there are a lot more complicated issues than just that. She is now deceased, obviously, and so the genetic issues are a little more complicated than just whether or not that one thing was ethical. Who owns genetic material as far as that is concerned? No one can really own genetic material since it's naturally occurring. I have my own set of genetics. Every person has their own set of genetics, but we don't necessarily own our own genetics, and nobody can really buy them and own them because they are naturally occurring. When somebody tried to patent genes and genetic information, they found that it was naturally occurring phenomenon, so it can't be patented. But any technology or interventions that were based on the genetic information that was collected can be patented because that is a creation, as opposed to something that occurs naturally. As far as for people who donate genetic material and information, and whether they should be entitled to some profits, it's really complicated to regulate that whole thing. So if I donated my genetics and nothing ever comes of it, should I get, a certain sum of money versus somebody who donates their genetics and this whole brand new cure for a certain cancer or a certain disease is found just based on their specific genetics versus mine? Many people donate things and don't really do any work. You can donate money, clothes, and food, and then you give it to these agencies that go out and do fantastic work for the community. However, I don't get proceeds from the development of anything that they find. If I give money to the American Cancer Society and they find a cure for a certain type of cancer, just because I gave money or I donated something doesn't mean that I'm entitled to the proceeds of that. So I think that kind of is a similar thing as far as genetics go. Most genetic studies aren't based on one person's genetic material, so you are donating for the knowledge that you're going to get as opposed to really the profits. So I don't think people should be entitled to the profits that are found by companies who use their genetics for research. As far as the government, beyond regulating informed consent, should they have any role in regulating? I think that there should definitely be regulations in place to prevent, exploitations of genetic material. Perhaps ethics boards, like normal research committees have ethics boards, and I don't think that there would be any reason to not have like an ethics board specifically for genetic research, because as we've seen in this class, some genetic research gets very tricky. So it gets very ethically complicated very quickly. So absolutely, I think that there should be regulations like an ethics board or some other governing body, but I don't think that the government should necessarily regulate all research and everything that comes along with the government regulating an agency and a certain set of research.